Please. Welcome to the Rock Talk Podcast. I'm Rack Mark, and I'm here with my guest, Navy veteran KaptainKoolWhip. Hey, Cap, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, brother. Great to have you. Welcome in.
Thanks for having me on here.
It's truly an honor to have you as the very first guest on episode 1, bro. It's an honor.
My honor. I love it.
Wearing the KaptainKoolWhip shirt.
Sexy faces on that one person right there.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's dive into this thing. I'm gonna keep it unscripted. We're just gonna flow with it. You know what I'm saying? See where everything goes.
Yep.
So, well, let's tell everybody out there about yourself, man.
Where do you want me to start?
Tell about your military experience and all that good stuff, and what got you to where you're at now. And
excuse me. Sorry. When finished high school, I knew I was going to go into the military. Went to go into the Air Force. They wouldn't take me without not letting me pick my job, so I was like, hell no. And moved over to the Navy recruiter and signed up to be a hull technician and shipped off in 2007. I had one station. I was at ACU 4 in Little Creek, Virginia. We did the hovercrafts. It was badass. It was fun. It was bullshit as well. But we were the Marines taxis. Took all their shit to the shore. But I met some of the best people I've ever known in my life in that short time that I was in the military. I've lost some of the best people I've ever known in the short amount of time I was in the military. But really, I mean, we can unpack this further, but that's where it kind of, you're a kid, high school happens, and then they brainwash you into the military. They pull it away and then remake you in their image. So that's where it started.
Yeah, that's good. Mine's somewhat similar. Went in the Army shortly after having a couple of kids, though, after high school. So I did it kind of wrong, I reckon, and along about.
You picked the last step first step last. Let's go, baby.
Hey, man, you gotta see what you got to do with that.
Yeah.
So, talk about your growth and your struggles since you've been out.
Yeah.
I know, we've known each other for a little while now, and I know some of the struggles that you've overcame. So let's. I know it's gonna be rough, but let's dive into them, man. Let's talk about the growth that you made and lessons you've learned, resources that you've used, and that could potentially help other vets out there.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the whole streaming aspect later and what that's done for you as well.
Perfect. So in and directly after, mental health was not a fucking good thing for your boy. It just, it's hard to think of what order I want to tell this in because of where I am now to where I've been. But back then it was really hard to understand what was happening in my head. You do such a good job at following orders and being told what to do, and you know where you have to be every second of the day. Literally, you just have to be there, and that's it. Like, that's the military. Just make sure you're where the fuck you're supposed to be, and you're good to go. When you get out, that structure's gone. And so also with it is everybody that you knew, everybody that you loved, all the people that you just right off the rip trusted just because they put on the same color clothes as you. That shit disappears, and then you're lonely. It's like that first year getting out, like, I thought I was so excited to get the fuck out of that shithole the just the bullshit of the military, and then you very quickly get reminded how much like you and everybody kept each other together like glue. Because when like you pull away, I was like, oh, where, what the fuck? And let's real quickly, this whole exit the military shit that they get you ready for. Talk to any vet and see if they ever did a fucking thing to get you ready for civilian life. They do shit. They like work you the last day you're there, and then you go to civilian where they're like, see you later, bitch. Have a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
So you transition trying to figure out life, thinking that you could just go back to it. Because like we lived out here, it was no big deal. But it legit is like leaving the yard and going out to civilian world. It's a whole new world, and that's where the booze and the depression and the anxiety were left unchecked. I didn't have any checks and balances. There was nothing. It was just a free for all, and I had no tools to work with the trauma that I dealt with. So 10 years of shit in between there. 10 years of awesomeness and shit, but mental health wise, absolute shit. I had no clue what I was doing with my brain. I had no clue how to take care of it. I opened up a restaurant and that was a fun time. So yeah, it's after those 10 years, I started talking to the VA, and I talked to a guy who actually got my shit through to the VA, which I had been trying for 10 years. But as you or any other vet knows, they just lose the paperwork as soon as that motherfucker hits the mail. There's no more paperwork. But if you've got a bill for $6.12, you best believe you're going to get 7 of them.
Yeah, they're definitely collecting and knocking down your door for that $6. They'll spend thousands of dollars to collect 6, but won't help you with a simple application.
The truck, the paper, the delivery, for $6. So I got hooked up with a Air Force guy. He works for the county. It's a free service, and he got my shit going. It took about a year for my disability paperwork to go through. My disability paperwork came back 100% just from PTSD. And then, add sleep apnea, bad back, knees, shoulders, fucking neck, tinnitus, toes, all the other shit. But 100 for everyone in chat, 100's the max. It doesn't matter if you're 175, like 100's the max, just like in normal life. Like 100% is all you can do.
But for people out there that's not military or does anything with the VA has their own math. That's right. So you have Common Core, you have regular math, and then you have VA math, right? Yeah. So 50% of one thing and 50% of another thing normally would be 100%. No, that's 25%.
Yep. Dude, it's so true. You look at it, you're like, that just doesn't fucking add up. I don't know.
Doesn't.
Now I'm seeing why we had a problem so hard in the military with the thing, because the thinkers can't do math right now.
That's exactly what it is. That's where we're at with it. The thinkers don't think.
Right? Yeah, and the VA was so that was 10 years. That was 10 years of trying to get. I didn't even try for disability first. All I wanted was health insurance. I just wanted coverage. I'm like, I need to go to the doctors. Like, my brain is turning on myself. I wanted to kill myself. The hardest thing in life that I've ever dealt with was looking at my kids, and they couldn't keep me alive. That's when I knew I needed help.
Yeah, for sure.
The most important things in my life, I looked at them and I was like, why you do nothing for me to want to be on this earth? That's crazy. That's when like reality hit, was like, you don't have much left if you don't fucking take a hold of this shit. And Kevin got me healthcare right away. It was like 2 months. I mean, he was on that shit. Like that dude must have fucking sent baskets of flowers. I don't know what he did, but he got me healthcare right away. And then the healing started. But the disability took 1.5 years to go through, or 1 year and like 2 months, and then they back pay you, which is tight.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the only positive that came out of the whole dragging the toes thing, was like they back pay you. So it's like, that's a big lump sum to pay some bills off. That's for sure.
Yeah. So mine was kind of along the lines. It was the same, and I exited active duty in 2012, and that's when I submitted my first application. And then it wasn't until 2015 that I finally started getting traction and filing all the appeals that was possible, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I went to a third party examination services through the VA, because obviously their backload and everything was so crazy at the time.
Yeah, their shit looks like the Grinch. In the Grinch, the post office where all the fucking mail's going every. That's what the VA looks like. Except it never goes anywhere. It just
it just sits there and collects dust.
Yeah.
But and he was like, I don't see why they're not accepting your claim. It shows right here in your records that on this appeal and this claim, the VA was like, oh, we concur. He's been seen for all these problems in the military. And I'm like, the fuck? So, and then I go and I reach back out and I'm like, all right, so like, let's backdate some of this stuff where I don't have to pay for going to the doctors anymore. Yeah. And they were like, oh, nope. Your appeals ended in such and such, so we can only go back as far as when you filed this claim section this time, or this claim batch this time. And it's nuts. Like the traction in this. Yeah, dude. So the crap that vets go through.
Right? Like, it's like 1 year from the time that your thing goes in, you have to appeal or something like that?
Yeah, and I did. I had four appeals for the first time since 2012, and they denied all that. So at that point, I was really fed up with the VA, right? For the 4 appeals in 2012, 2013, I was just done. Yeah. Like, fuck it, they're never going to help. And then
I understand that for sure.
So in 2015, 16, 17, I started to apply again. And then it finally got traction. Like that's about the time the VA started switching to veterans examination services.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and that's when veterans started seeing traction, because now they're able to get in for these claims and get the help that they so deserved.
Yeah.
So you spoke on having somebody in the community. What service was that? And
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm trying to highlight all the services that we have used. So new veterans or older veterans that just given up still have hope. Like, we can instill that hope. Like, don't give up. You can get there. So I want to talk about all those services that we've used. And mine was just a word of mouth and people just pushing me to do it again and keep going and keep going. You actually used a service where I didn't. And I wish I had known more about the services when I went through all this, because that would have helped a lot.
Yeah. I didn't even, so I had got it because my dad used, my aunt had somebody at her work that my dad used. So she had gotten in touch with me and then found somebody in Wisconsin. Ours is the county veteran service office. Like, my city pays the taxpayers pay to have this. It's one person, by the way, everybody.
Right.
it's the one guy. He does two, Nina and the town I live in, and he basically he's a fucking paperwork guru. So all the stuff. So just a quick backstory for everybody. What the VA does is they confuse the shit out of us because we weren't taught in paperwork. We weren't taught, like, we know one fucking number on a paper, the most important number, and the most important paper you'll ever get is what? The
DD2414.
So that's about the only fucking form that I knew or care about. So
Right.
what this guy does is he gets all those forms, and it is insane how you need to send this and attach this to this and do this and send that over here and send that there. They do it on purpose so they don't. So we give up. And I don't know about you. I gave up for 10 years until I met Kevin. And
I gave up for a few years myself.
Yep. So he takes all my information that he needs. We go through all the things that were wrong with me in the military, either created for or furthered by my service in the military. We go through that. I didn't even put down some stuff, and because I didn't think that I had PTSD, and the lady who did my evaluation was a fucking professional, and she 3 hours. 3 hours, and then she called me back that afternoon to go through another interview, and she was the one that I got 100%, like all the shit on it that I had no idea that I had. She was pulling it out of my brain and making it come to the surface, and it was almost like hypno. It was like hypnotherapy almost, because it was stuff that I had compartmentalized and I didn't even know bothered me, until she said like a key word, and the whole flashback came back, and I just lost it. And this is what you're talking about, VES. The reason why I got 100% is because we had an outside doctor do the evaluation. That's why they're doing it. Just like you said, once they started getting in this third party shit, and you're creating a system of checks and balances, now we're starting to see some traction, like you said. And this was the lady. I am the proof of how this program's working, because if we weren't like that, the VA would have stuck me back in my fucking box and sent me back home, because that's what they do to everybody. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You talked, and then, like, I am not talking about the human beings, okay? When I say the VA, I'm not talking about the humans. I'm talking about the people running it, the politicians and the bullshit about it. They don't give a fuck at all.
Right. And that brings up a good point. You're not talking about the actual workers and the frontline people.
Ass off. They're the same thing as us. My brother-in-law is a doctor at the VA. His wife's a doctor at the VA. I've been to the doctors at the VA, the receptionists, like, you fucking name it. They are doing everything they fucking can with an antiquated, outdated system that they're trying to revamp in a new age, and nobody knows what they're doing. And they're just trying to do their best, but the instructions from the top, they can't control those, you know?
I mean, that's a good point. The VA is the wish.com in healthcare.
Thanks.
A member in the studio audience.
A member. That's so funny. But yeah, that's
a good point.
It is. It is. They. It's just like being in. They gave the bare minimum and they took the most. It sucks because they give you the absolute littlest they can possibly, and then now the bill is stuck on the taxpayer, or wherever the fucking fund of the VA shit comes out, because they don't want to do anything proactively. They don't want to admit that there's a mental health problem in the service. They want to only talk about all the things that they're doing to change that. Well, fucking 10 years ago, it was still shut the fuck up and go back to work. That's not that long ago.
Yeah, no, it's not.
We couldn't. If you talked about your mental health, you guaranteed are on a fucking desk till you get out. Guaranteed.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
what do? We chose to bottle it up, get hammered all the time, fucking, wash the sorrows down with the bottle, and carry on like nothing's happening until you get out and you're alone. And then it all fucking just gone. You're everything is gone.
Right. Yeah, it is. And, we've talked about what up until the point you talked about what led you into the service, a little about the service, and now we're talking about your coming out of the dark hole of the beginning ages of civilian life after post military.
Yep.
So, you struggle with PTSD, mental health issues, and talk about
and everything deep.
Yeah. So talk about your recovery.
Oh yeah, this is a big one. This is a fun one.
So yeah, and I apologize ahead of time if I make you cry or anything, but
you know what? I'm all about it. Like this is the one thing that I hope anybody who's listening ever takes from this is like it's okay. Like we're two dudes with the audience here. Whoever's listening, it's okay. Like we're having a conversation. We're talking about shit. This is therapy for me. This is, I'm kicking in with one of my best friends right now, talking about stuff that I know both of us, and there's a lot of people out there that they understand exactly what I'm saying, even though we've never met each other, never seen each other's face, and never been to the same base, never been in the same service, like the same branch. And all of us have a common ground in the hatred of how the fuck they treat us when we get out. So the flip side is when you do start understanding that nobody's going to do it for you and you got to do it yourself, that's the first step. And that's like the first power that I got. Like it was my kids. I didn't care. Like if I went, I didn't care. And that sucked. So that was my wake up call. It was, okay, you got to get help. So my largest support system is my wife. I went to her and I'm like, I need the VA and I can't do it. I can't make phone calls. Like at this point in my life, I couldn't talk to people on the phone. I couldn't go to the group. I couldn't go in public. I mean, I was just like an absolute fucking mess. But I continued to put on the face. I was streaming at the time. Like I still was the same person me as, like always wanting to help other people. But as soon as that little fucking red light went off, so did all of me. It was right back to like the empty hole that I was in. So I got medical in 2020 during COVID. That's when mine kicked in, and they sent me to community care. For those out there, there's VA care and then there's community care, VA care. Community care is awesome because you can go to civilian doctors. You get it's great because you get people that actually you get real doctors that like have been doing it for 40 years. They've had, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying the doctors at the VA aren't real. I'm like, but usually you're getting like newer middle level doctors and then they go somewhere else. So the snafu with community care is you need a fucking referral for everything that you do. So my first month was paperwork after I didn't have to fill the paperwork, but like every fucking thing that I had to get checked and tested, it had to get through and then go get approved and processed and then send back. And that is a night. So even with an awesome system like community care, they don't want you to get care. They stop you at every fucking chance they can for you to not get health care. If
you know how long it took me to get it?
5-year veteran says I need to go get a sleep test, why the fuck is your phone it in guy sitting at the desk going to be checking her shit? She's a fucking stud.
Yeah, it took me so long to get an MRI just through the VA that it's crazy. 5 years.
You're dead. They want you to be dead. Yeah. That's literally what it is. 5 fucking years to get an MRI.
And I'm not saying that it's any fault to any of the people at my VA or anywhere else. It took them that long to get it approved until they started to go to the third party system where they could send. When they enacted community care is when I was able to go get my MRI outside of the VA network. So instead of driving an hour to the local VA hospital, I was able to drive 20 minutes to the local hospital and get that MRI.
Yep. I got a sleep test. Dude, they're like $9,000.
Yeah.
Go sleep in a bed. Dude, it was great. It's the best time. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's pretty hard to fall asleep in there. And because I had insomnia anyways. It's the one night I slept like a fucking champ. I took my Ambien. I was all hooked up and everything. And the room was pitch black. It was wonderful.
Yes.
This dude who looked like the lead guy on Cool Runnings in the bobsled thing, and he talked like him. He was my dude, and we were having so much fun, and I was all loopy on Ambien and shit. And then I got up, and they're like, yeah, you stop breathing 17 times a night. I was like, all right.
Isn't that crazy? Like, like, I went for mine, right? We went to I went to the local hospital place for mine too. And they were like, oh yeah, we had to put you on a mask within the first 45 minutes of you sleeping because you stopped like 32 times in an hour. And I'm like, what? Oh no. You're great. Yeah. But yeah, I went for my sleep test and they were like, yeah, we had to put you on the mask. And the cool thing about theirs is when they put you on the mask, you get the good oxygen coming out of the bottle. It's so good. It's the fact that we have to wait until we can get all those approvals for the smallest things that improve your life dramatically is just, it's something that needs to change. And I want to be able to bring to light the resources that people can take and look at that will definitely help them in the future.
Yeah. Yep. Hold on. It's fucking driving me nuts. Yeah, and you know, they would do so much better if they just let the doctors that are out there do their job and then like just report back when you're done. Like that is what it is. It's like care needs to happen. And the waiting thing, dude, I had called so I went to therapy for I told them I had a drinking problem. That was the in that I wanted to use. What happened was they put me in like a program thing. It wasn't like a mandatory thing because I was volunteering, but they put me in like a do you submit to drug tests if at random? I'm like, no. Like, first of all, I'm like, I'm not a fucking criminal, all right? I'm a dude who drinks too much and wants to get fucking help, okay? Like, what do you mean, random? I'm like, first of all, it's 2020. Ain't nobody leaving their fucking house to come piss test me. What are you even piss testing me for? I'm like,
right.
So I did a little bit of that. That was great. And then I needed something deeper. And my therapist knew I needed something deeper. She's like, I know somebody, they're really good. We'll get you involved in it. They're 6 months out. So I'm like, all right, I'll hold it together for 6 months. I'm like, fuck me, man. So I was still going to this lady once a month once a week. I was going once a week. And then September rolls and I'm getting ready to do my big boy therapy where, you know, they unpack, they pull my brain out and they cancel on me. So I call them up and I go, I need to reschedule this. They got canceled on me. And she said, the closest we have is February. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, no. I just waited 6 months. I'm like, I'm going to fucking blow my brains out. Like, I literally, I have prepared my brain for this coming up by holding it over for 6 months, and you're telling me that I have to wait another like 5. I was like, there's not happening. There's no way. And she said, like, she was just so rude. She goes, well, that's all I can do. And I go,
Oh my God.
she's not she's the receptionist, right?
Right.
So she's not like the actual person with any certificate. So I said, listen here. And this is when I went into the like, I said, listen here. In the last 60 days, I thought about putting a gun in my mouth 60 times. I go, I'm not even going to bore you with the rest of it. The burning, the drowning, the pulling my car in front of other cars, the jumping off of bridges, all the thoughts that I've had that's been flooding my brain to not want to be here. I'm like, find me a fucking doctor because you guys dropped the ball. I go, why did this get canceled anyways? And she goes, sir, don't swear at me. I go, I didn't swear at you. I said, if I'm swearing at you, I call you a motherfucker for this bullshit that you got going on.
Yeah.
Click. They went click. So
Jeez.
I talked to my therapist from that company. I ended up switching companies. My doctor called up her homie therapist. She got me in instantly. It was like 3 weeks. She got me in, and then I was with her for a really long time, and she gave me tools to work my brain. It was no longer a bitch fest, like I'm just complaining about my problems and stuff, which I wasn't doing with the other ones. The other ones were very good at what they did too, but it was me doing breathing exercises and focusing on what my fingertips feel like when the anger starts coming up the back of my neck, and how does the bottom of my feet, how does that feel. And I did all these things and now, so 2023, I am literally a shell. Like I shed the shell that I was, and now I'm like a whole new person. The struggles are there every day, but I got the tools to fight them. Like, nothing goes away. Depression doesn't go away. Anxiety doesn't go away. You take all the medication in the world, it helps. You do all the therapy in the world, that helps, but you live with it forever. It's a part of you. So you got to either take that part of you and let it be and grow with it, or you try to fight it your whole life. And that's what I imagine you did. I did for 10 years. I tried to fight it instead of walk with it. And then once I started walking with my depression and my anxiety and using it as a tool in my life to connect with people, all of these things stemmed from getting the paperwork in, getting the right people. Literally, it comes down to support. Had I try not to look past, but God, I really wish I fucking did something a long time ago. You know, like I don't like to look back because we can only go forward, but man, that's what we're here for now. That's why we do this shit, so that you guys and whoever else can get working on it now.
Yeah. So you mentioned tools that you use to help work the process, right? Work the problem that they gave you. So what kind of tools do you utilize? And talk a little bit about how they help you on a daily basis and how you process and how things process with those tools for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just take you through my day. How's that? That'll work. So I wake up, and usually two things are happening in my brain when I wake up. It's always polar opposites. I never get like a middle ground. I either wake up now, and by the way, this is a new feeling. I either wake up so excited for the day, which I've never felt it. Like, never felt that excited to wake up. So that's cool. it's so
that is such a good feeling. You know, I haven't, like, when I've talked about doing a podcast fucking months ago, probably 8 months ago, I was like, I'm gonna start one, but never really pulled the trigger, right? So but you know, I started the process of building one last month, and I was like, yeah, I'll play around with it for a little bit. And then I got word that, my former first sergeant,
Yeah.
Passed. And that hit pretty close because he did a lot for me as a soldier and my family as a support system, as a guy that just went through his first divorce and had physical custody of his children while serving in the Army as an infantryman. So, he did a lot. He went way above and beyond most NCOs would ever do.
Those are the badasses. Those are the ones you love working with right there.
Yes, and it hit so hard to hear they pass, and that's really what made me execute on the plan for the podcast and execute the podcast. Like execute.
Shit.
Yeah, I had to.
And said that I'm going to use this as my push. This is the thing that's going to. We're right there, and then, although this sucks.
That was the first Sergeant Fleck that kicked me in the ass and pushed me over the edge. So here we are, recording episode 1 of season 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's great. So okay, so the good day, I wake up happy. I'm excited, right? First thing I do is I go downstairs and I say something out loud nice to myself in the mirror. I've been doing this for like 6 months now, or 8 months now. I've been doing it's just like part of your day. It's like brushing my teeth now. Sometimes I'll just think about somebody else that I would say this to and say it, and then like find pieces that applies to me too, just because it's hard saying nice things to yourself. But it gets easier when you do it every day. And then I'll usually, you know me, I'll pop on stream and we'll start going. We jam out, we rock out, and we do what we can to interact with as many people who need our company as possible. So I'll back up to the bad days. The bad days are a lot of work, a real lot of work. So it starts with getting out of bed. I don't technically have to get out of bed except to take my daughter to school and pick her up. That's the only technical thing, because like streaming's a fucking job, but if I need a day off, I'm taking a day off. That's just
right.
I come before my stream.
Yeah.
So I go downstairs, I say something nice to myself in the mirror, and then I'll usually sit in the bathtub for like however the fuck long it takes, and I literally jam positivity in my brain as fucking fast and rapid as I can. So you know how TikTok is perfected, like the short video, it's the addiction, right? These instant satisfactions that we need to see. If we don't like it, we just don't have to look at it, right? It's everything's that, like, I need it too. And that's what I use it for. So I get on Facebook Reels and I just fucking people saying nice things to people doing nice things for homeless people, fucking cute cats, goddamn kids everywhere, you name it. I pour as much fucking happiness and good vibes into myself artificially as possible, and I message people and I say nice things to them so that I could do it outward. And it's like I go for, I did that for 6 hours one day just so I could fight to be happy. Because it's like getting happiness is now an addiction. I love myself so much when I'm happy that when I'm not, it's like, give me that the fuck back right now. Like, I don't know what took it, but I need it back, and I'm going to work every second of today to get it back. So I'll do that, and then I usually just text my wife and tell her what's going on. So I'm like, hey, I today is the day. I usually call it my depression days. It's this like hey, I'm in it. I was stuck in it. I can't get out of it, but I know it's going to end. That is the key to getting healing. before, for 10 years, I was living in this like fucking nightmare that you can't get out of. It's
Right.
when people talk about heaven and hell, like I didn't believe in any of that shit because like it couldn't get worse. And I'm not saying life is bad, like my life is bad. It's just what was going on inside here couldn't get worse. There's nothing else up here that would scare me. Like physical torture in hell wouldn't scare me because up here is way fucking worse than what the hell they got going on.
Right.
So, it's like now I can control that. I know that I'm getting out of it. I just got to let it play a little bit. Depression needs its time. It needs its attention. Everybody look at depression. It's making him sad for no reason. And then anxiety's coming over and making him think about all the shit he did when he was 13 years old that was fucked up,
Yeah.
And you got to let it run its course. But during that whole time, I make sure it knows that my goal is happiness. So I make extra effort to be nice to my kids or to do for others because it's my empathy bone and it's what gives me happiness, is helping other people. So take all that, mix it in a pot with a support system of friends and family that a guy couldn't ask for better for, and breathing techniques, music, anything that gives me a good feeling, I fucking use it when I'm in a bad spot. I try everything down the line until I'm going to bed that night. And then you rinse it, you reflect on it, rinse it, and then forget about it. So like I reflect on the bad parts of the day, the things, and then I pick one thing that I can work on the next day, and then I put the rest of that shit out of my mind as much as I can, because we can. Yes, I haven't slept in 2 out of the last 3 days. So
Yeah.
sometimes they don't leave your mind.
So that was going to bring me to the next point. Is you've been struggling with sleeping this week,
Yeah.
And what do you think is you think the depression days are getting worse for you or
closer? So they come in it's a cycle. It's like a period for my brain.
Gotcha.
It
makes sense. It's
right, like, and I can feel it now. I can feel like today
it coming.
Today it happened. I got out of my meeting, and instant, I fucking didn't want to be awake, alive, anything. And when I say like I thought I want to kill myself, I just didn't want to exist. I just wanted to not be on this plane, right? So I feel it, and it's happening. 9 times out of 10 in the past, I would have messaged you and been like, "Bud, I'm so sorry, but I need to fucking take some time." But I am comfortable and I feel good in how far I've come with my therapy that I'm gonna push myself until I'm past uncomfortable. Like all of life is uncomfortable. It's all of life is getting uncomfortable, right? Going out on missions, doing whatever the fuck you got to do. If you are comfortable, right, you're gonna die. If you are comfortable in the military, whatever you do, if you work on fucking the trucks, if you shoot the guns, if you get comfortable, you get complacent, you fucking die. And we watched them die getting complacent. I watched that shit. So that part of me, I can kind of push to the side a little bit, because when you're healing, you have to put yourself back into that comfort zone. You got to live in that bubble. You have to be, okay, like I'm going to get out of this, but I got to work it. Now I'm in control again. I'm in the driver's seat. Like, I'm going to do this. And sometimes I can pull myself out and I can I'm on day 13 now in a row. I've had 109 hours streaming in the last 13 days. I couldn't do that without this kind of self-esteem and this motivation.
Right.
And all the support and the people around me that did it. So where before I would go into my hole and be alone, now I welcome the people that make me feel good off the bat. So instead of being afraid of doing this podcast because I'm depressed, I'm with my best friend and we're doing shit and this is important and I want to do it. So this is the growth. It's been 13 years now of me like knowing I was fucked up to working on it really, really well. And I just want to keep helping people with it. I just want other people to be able to get help like I got help because, it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
how many days you got sober?
I am sitting at, I use my app to keep track of most of it.
Yeah, I gotta check it.
So I am sitting at 4 months, 14 days, 18 hours, 32 minutes, and 24 seconds.
Attaboy. Attaboy right there. I like to hear that. That shit gets me excited because it's what like pushes me. Like you see that and you see, somebody else is struggling for the shit and you can go to them with your struggles because we're in the same boat. We might be treading in the same in different water, but we're sure as shit fighting the same fucking battles in that department.
Yeah,
I got 192 out of 193 days. So, and that because that was the New Year's Eve.
you're kicking ass still, man. Don't forget that.
No, I don't put the emphasis on the number, and that the quitting drinking was the final piece of the puzzle to be able to see myself for who I was. I mean, you can say all the fucking happy shit you want, but deep down, I thought I was a piece of shit for the majority of my life. It didn't matter any good things that I did. I just felt like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because every tiny, small, bad thing that I did, or it was a bad judgment call, or whatever, that took precedence over the 9 fucking things that I liked, and it was good. So when you start getting that strength back and knowing who you are, the booze was what hid all that from my eyes. And I found it when I drank on New Year's Eve and I did that little experiment. I knew how much of a hold it had on me because I didn't even enjoy it and I still wanted to do it the next day. I fucking hated it. I didn't like how I was like, my stomach hurts. This is awful. And then I still wanted to. That's how bad addiction is. So
it is. It is bad. But I want you to know I'm proud of you.
That means the world. It really
for
does.
chugging along and keep. You're still in the fight and you haven't bowed out or anything. There's stuff that I say all the time that I have to tell myself. You know what I mean? Like, people just need to know that you're loved.
Yeah,
it's okay to struggle. It's not okay to check out. Reach out to someone and talk. You have a purpose in this life. And I love everybody.
Yeah.
So with that segment, you mentioned streaming. So what has streaming done for you and what does it mean to you?
Everything now. It's the military shit's easier to talk about than this. Streaming, it's really wild right now. It's confusing and in such a good way. It's bigger than me, and that's what's really cool. It's like, yeah, it's like I'm a part of something. It's like having that military vibe again. Like it used to. This fucking industry was the worst. And it still is the worst in some places, but we just stay away from that shit because that's not where the fucking energy gets wasted anymore. This industry used to be people fucking. I mean, the amount of backstabbing that goes on in the streaming industry is absolutely insane. And I know it happens everywhere, and I know I'm pinpointing on it because I'm in it right now. But this is like a brand new fucking like. This is not your normal carpenters and shit. This shit is new. Nobody knows what they're fucking doing still, and we're all trying to figure out what the hell to do. From day one, and I'll tell you, this is how my streaming started. I wanted to work on my social anxiety, and I wanted to work on my depression, and I didn't want to go out in public. So I needed something. I needed a way to socialize with people and to kind of get my shit out there without having to go in public, because I didn't want to. I just wanted to do it this way. And I got a message from one of the first people that followed me. He had just got out of prison 2 weeks before, and he started watching my streams, and he said, "Thank you for streaming on Friday nights, because I would be out at the bar and I'd probably be back in jail right now. But because you're alive and we have a good time, I just stay home, and you're keeping me on the straight and the narrow on a day that's really hard for me." And
Oh man,
that was it. That was it, dude. It was like he was placed there. You know what I'm saying? Like that was it. That was the purpose. That everything that I fucking thought was all I wanted to do was help one person. The problem was when I started that, I couldn't help myself. So I was a microphone without a battery, you know. I was fucking a megaphone without a battery. I was speaking, but it's
nobody could hear it.
It's fucking words, man. It was bullshit. It was all bullshit. All the what I was saying was true. I felt that, but I wasn't living that. It's like a chef. I'll cook you a Michelin star fucking meal and turn around and eat, Hot Pockets. Like that's how it was. It's like I would pour my heart out and leave it on my stream every time. We'd be going through the deepest shit ever, and I would hit that button and just like I was dead, and I would disappear for like weeks. I'd be gone. Like just gone. All my friends would be fucking worried. I wouldn't respond to anybody because I left it that way just in case I wanted to actually be gone. It was easier. I already saw the beginning of it, so I was like, oh, it ain't that bad. They're not gonna miss me that much. You start rationalizing shit when you don't want to fucking live. You start making things up in your head, even though I know that if anybody I love put a gun to their head and pulled the trigger, it would crush me, because it has. Yeah. Right? We can rationalize as much as we want, but if there's one person that loves you in your life and you kill yourself, that one person is crushed for the rest of their life. And it's not like a suicide shame, because I fucking agree with it. I understand it. I'm not angry at people who kill themselves. It's sad. That's it. I'm just sad that I couldn't do anything. So even I had to get over the fact that I'm just a little baby, that I'm just a little tiny grain of sand in this thing. Because if you go into life with the mentality that you're fucking nothing, you'll be nothing. So it was, I'm not nothing anymore. We're doing this. And the thing we said is we're going to go out there and change the world. And I just kept saying it. It's like saying the nice things in the mirror. I just kept saying it. And then, through my whole time, I had great people with me. But then I got linked up with BlitzFam, and that's when everything changed. And I found a whole group of people that were believing the things that I believed in, and I wanted to stand with that. And that's how I see like 40Fam and PBS and BlitzFam and Flex, Burn Gang, and all this shit. Like all these small communities of amazing people is what gets me up going 13 days straight. Like, yeah,
you're killing it.
I couldn't do 13 days straight without the support, though. That's the thing. All my strength is in everybody else, so I can give them back what they deserve. It's like it's this revolving fucking thing, and I'm on this like momentum. And even when I sit there, like I sat on my chair, and my body's like, dude, just get up and go stream. You're gonna do it anyways. I'm like, fuck it.
And at 2 a.m.
Dude. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I know it. I knew I wasn't. Dude, I had 25 milligrams of fucking melatonin in me. 25 milligrams, and I couldn't go to sleep. So I gotta go back on. I gotta do the Ambien again. I think I'm gonna do that. But that's the 999 thing. So when I get upset about something, the first thing I do after that is I need to find something positive out of this. It's a mental switch that I think everybody needs to just switch. You got to do it. You don't have to be happy all the time. You don't have to be smiling all the time. You don't have to be any of that shit. But you have got to find positivity and negativity. You've got to find a way to flip the bad and turn it to good, because there's so much bad, but the good outweighs it. It's far more important. What's it? Even one candle. What's it? One candle will crush pure darkness. You know, because there's light. It's right there.
Yep.
So,
even in the darkness of night, there's still stars.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the tools, that's the training. Every time things that I would fly off the handle with before, or completely go back into my self-centered and like egotistical mindset, I stop and I go, how can I take this situation and make this a good one? How do I make this work? And how do I make this help? And the easiest way is helping people. It's like, how do I take this shitty thing that happened to me and make sure it doesn't happen to other people?
Yeah, for sure. And that's what brought us here to the podcast.
Yeah.
And man, I don't want to keep you on too long. And
I'm okay. I'm good.
I appreciate you coming in and everything else. And what keeps you just hitting that go live button every day? Like, there's days that I'm like, nope, not doing it. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be in front of people. I'm just not doing it. Like 13 days in a row, you've hit that go live button.
You know what it is? It's fucking Dean. It's you. Like, you see a dude come in and hang out with you every day for like 3 years. You realize it's not like you're just a piece of the puzzle now. It's what I always wanted to be. I love where I'm at right now streaming. I'll want to grow for the rest of my fucking time streaming. And if you ever want to stop, you fucked up. You should always want to grow. If you got a good message and you're trying to get it out there and you're trying to interact with other good people and you're doing good things, you should always want to grow, and you deserve to have successes in life. And anybody who tells you they don't want to grow, apparently they hate money, and they also the stability, and they hate meeting people. And I understand the beauty and love in a small community, but when I mean grow, I mean all of us. It's not me growing. When people come into my chat, I love the fact that they say hi to me and then they start conversations with each other. Like, you don't see that often. I watch some of these, and I'm saying this to not down anybody, but I watch some of these like really good fucking these pro gaming streamers, and they do an awesome job. They bring in some big crowds and stuff, but there's nothing happening in their chat. You're just watching a TV show, and that's okay. And again, I'm not downing that, but I wanted it to be something different. I wanted it to be not about me. Like, when I was telling you guys, what's really cool is I can hear from somebody who heard from somebody else about how one of my mods helped their mods help to do something, or, you know, it's crazy the amount of people that you all go out and support and help, and that's the message. And it's beautiful. You're out there all the time. Doing this shit for what's her name, you hooked up Lord Lou today. You literally take care of me. Like, these are the things that keep me going every day. I go, if I've got people out there that I can count on, I'm gonna be somebody that they can count on me. And
That's the coolest shit, because I don't care how many fucking viewers I have. Every single one of those numbers is a person to me.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I can say about your streams is you've made it personal. Like,
Yeah.
people can come in, basically talk about whatever they want, and feel comfortable and be there. Like 40-year-old bot, and he's such a personable person that it's crazy. Like, he's a partner on Twitch, but I could tell him that, hey, I won't be around for a few days as just a viewer, and he'll remember why, and then he'll check on me. Like, and it's so crazy, that.
See, because that partner tack is nothing, because 40-year bot is the thing, and that's the community. Because that's how good partners happen. Those are the ones that we need to start seeing that shit at the front of the line. I mean, we need to start seeing the people that are out there fucking spreading the good and everything. How much clickbait bullshit is on Twitter right now? It's crazy. And then you got people like this that are out there doing love for each other, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and gaming with the homies is a plus side to anything. You know what I mean?
Oh fuck
putting
yeah!
Putting that shit on live TV and just hanging out with your buddies is fucking epic, right? And then you got people come in and interact with you, tell you stuff about the game. You chit chat about the game, and sometimes the game's not even mentioned. You're just talking about everyday life with people just come in and want to hang out. And
I had recently just started getting into like playing with other people on stream. Now I've always had like the few people that I play with, but I kept it real tight because when you lose control, so you don't have control of somebody else's voice, right? And it's coming through my speakers. Although the KaptainKoolWhip page is a community thing, I am responsible when bad things happen. They don't fucking come after the whole chat room. They come after me when they ban my ass because of So I got a little I was very closed off about that, which is fine because I played a lot of story games. But now I've done good. I've learned to set boundaries. I have the ones that I've been with on voice chat. They come in, no problem. All the people that I know I can play with. When I game with a new person, they don't come into voice chat right away, and we just play the game. And then I see how that plays out. And then I'll pull them into voice chat next time, see how that goes. Usually it just turns into somebody bragging about how awesome their gear is because they played the game for 17,000 hours. But that's okay, because I did a little challenge, which was conversating with someone new. But I will say that there is no other... I haven't met better people and worse people than the military and streaming. And the kitchen. Actually, they're all pretty fucking equal. We've met such awesome people. Guys and gals that would do anything for you streaming, right? That's the stuff that's awesome. Gaming with those homies and just having nights of laughter where I forget that this is a job for me. Those are cool because it's a fucking job. I don't care what anyone says. 109 hours of playing video games is not fucking fun. Not for 109, I'll tell you that. It's just not. You can't do something. You can't do something for 14 hours a day and fucking love it the whole time. But when you're doing with your homies, yeah, you can. It's easy to, because the game's the background now. Now it's just me talking shit to Mark and Sawbones and shit, and we're just having a good time judging. Yeah. But
it's good times.
That's the best. I'm getting to the point where I really enjoy playing multiplayer, and almost more than playing by myself now. So seeing these little changes in me over time, they're big wins. There's stuff that I would never be able to do a year ago today, And now, now I'm out here, and we're gonna keep changing the world, I think, personally.
Yeah, and listen up, people. You don't need a $3,000 computer to stream. You can
Please don't
literally
Please don't
go
do that.
live.
Trust me.
You literally can go live from your Xbox or PS5 or
Yes.
PS4. You do not need
No.
a computer and expensive cameras and stuff that you see these big streamers saying that, oh, we recommend these because we're affiliate, and you need to spend tens and thousands of dollars to get into the bit.
You need a Logitech, Logitech C922 or a Logitech Brio is like $120 camera, and they're really good. The Brio is, this camera is, this is one of the best ones I've ever used, hands down. Like, it's super fucking compact. It does light really well. You don't need to get a $4,000, lenses with the extra wide and all the bullshit. What you do need is you need to have fun. Like, you need to be able to go out there and just enjoy it. I'm 4 years in at the stage where it's a job, so I can stream and push through and still enjoy it when it's not enjoyable. But if you're starting out, just have a good time. Play the games that are fun to you. Don't chase viewers. When the ones that do come in, spend time on them. Streamers have such a tough fucking thing with looking at chat. Like, goddamn, look at your fucking chat. If you set a timer in your head, then like that's what I did. I had a little shocky thing that used to shock me, so I'd look over. But if you just look at chat, your views will go up exponentially.
Like, we're recording this first episode, but I wanted to air it on Twitch for my viewers, your viewers, and anybody else. And it's killing me to not talk to the chat. I keep looking at it, and I'm like,
yeah.
But anyway. Yeah. But I'm just gonna put this plug out there, chat. I love you. I know you're there, and I'm sorry, but we're powering through this podcast, and I want to get it recorded. So that's what we're doing. I know you're there. I appreciate everybody that's here. But
oh yeah, me too.
It's tough. It's tough, man. It is, and you do like, you're there to play the game. You're having fun, but it's more. You need to have that personal interaction with your viewers, and
I stop my game now. Like, I know it's not good practices. Like, people won't give you that advice, but I do it so frequently that everybody knows I'm going to do it. If we get engaged in a conversation, guess what comes first? Like, I can unpause and pause a non-online game. So we'll get right back to the same spot we were at, but I'm going to give you my full attention because of my respect for you. If you're going to have a conversation with me about how upset that, like, your aunt died or something like that, then it's my job to give you the same respect back. And if the other 10 or 12 people in the chat are pissed because I stopped the game to do that, fuck them. They can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
We care about each other, and I'm going to talk to you, and it's going to get annoying sometimes, and I annoy myself with it sometimes, but I would rather be annoying on the side of paying attention to people than playing like Doki Doki Literature Club and not looking at my fucking chat while I read text boxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man. But I think that's it, man. We covered a lot, and I appreciate you opening up and talking about your journey from where you were to where you're at now, man. And I really hope people find comfort in the listening and the help. And don't be afraid to reach out. And I just want to say this now, if you or someone may be struggling with suicide thoughts, you can call the U.S. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK. Anytime, day or night, or chat online. Crisis text is also available 24/7, and it's text message through 741. Or you can dial 988 and get straight to the line. And if you're a veteran, you can dial 988 immediately, followed by the number 1, and you'll get put through the VA crisis line.
I would go with the regular route. Yeah, for every. Yeah, use the civilian portal, veterans.
Yeah.
I kid.
But reach out. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Brother, I appreciate you, and it was good hanging out with you. Hopefully you find some time to go lay down and catch up on some much needed rest.
I'm probably just going to go live again and play some Hogwarts. Are you going to cut? You should cut the podcast and leave the stream going.
I am.
When you do, okay.